Okay, so welcome everyone to our virtual Careers in Computing event. And I'd like to give a special thank you to all of our employers and alumni that are here today for taking time to speak with our students. So thank you so very much. Special thank you to our Office of Career Services that worked with the Department of Computing Sciences to make this event possible. I'm Mehruz Kamal, by the way. Many of you know me. Those of you that don't, I'm the Chair of Computing Sciences. And a special thank you to all of our students and all of our faculty and staff that are joining us this morning as well. A couple of housekeeping items. For the first 45 minutes or so, we'll have a panel discussion moderated by Ms. Stephanie Learn, who is our Director of Career Services. And then for the next 30 minutes, I'll open up breakout rooms for each employer and each alumni. And students, you can go in and out of those breakout rooms. An icon with a group of 4 squares on your Zoom dashboard panel. So to activate the rooms, if you click on them, if you click on that icon, you should be able to pick and choose which room you want to go into. So that is all about the breakout rooms. And just give me 1 second here. I have a bunch of people in the waiting room. And there's one special person that I need to admit. Okay. And so any questions regarding the overall housekeeping, the whole format of the event before we get started? No? Okay, great. So now it's my distinct pleasure to give the floor to our Dean, Dr. Joe Smaljako, who is joining us this morning. And he will give us a few remarks, and then we will get started with our panel discussion. So I'm going to hand over to Dean Maljako.
Good morning, and first, thank you, Mehruz. I want to first talk to the employers who have taken time from their work to come to Brockport and to talk to our students. I know there are representatives from Paychecks, Dunnhumby, Center for Health Plus Technology at University of Rochester, XLS, and IBM. Thank you very much. You have been helping us to organize events such as Careers in Computing for nearly 15 years. I cannot thank you enough for your assistance. I also know some of you who are joining today are our own alums. So welcome back. Had this been a face-to-face meeting, I would have stopped by to say hello to each of you. Nonetheless, thank you very much. Now, I would like to spend a minute or two talking to the students. I want students in the Department of Computer Sciences know that you are in a special and unique department. First, in the entire state of New York, there is only one Computer Information Systems program accredited by ABET. You know where that is? Here at Brockport, nowhere else. Second, no comprehensive college in the SUNY system has a computer science program accredited by ABET. We are the only one. Those two unique distinctions make the department one of a kind. In addition, some of the activities that the department has been organizing, such as Careers in Computing, also make them a unique department here in the School of Arts and Sciences, as well as in the College of Brockport, as well as at SUNY Brockport. So students, take advantage of this opportunity that you are going to have to listen to representatives from these 5 companies. I understand that there is going to be breakout sessions that would allow students to meet individually with the representatives of these companies. So thank you for everyone. And once again, I truly appreciate the employers coming to Brockport, helping us and make this place truly, truly special. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Malyako. I'm going to hand over to Ms. Stephanie Learn, who will now moderate the panel discussion. And just one last comment for all of our students. If you'd like to ask any specific questions to our panelists, please use the chat box feature, type your question in there, and both Stephanie and I will try to get to those questions as time permits. Thank you.
Thank you, Joes Mehruz. It's a pleasure being here. I always enjoy this event. It is always well attended. This is the first time we've had to do it this way. So, you know, cross our fingers, it's all gonna go very well. I do have a number of questions that we're gonna go through. As Dr. Kamal mentioned, remember, if you have a question, go ahead and type it into the chat. We will try to get to those at the end. If for some reason we run out of time, you will have an opportunity to ask those questions. You can always go into the breakout rooms and ask those. So you will have a couple opportunities to do that today. I would like to start by asking each of the panelists to give a brief introduction of yourself and your current position. I do have a list of everybody, but I know that there are a couple representatives from that some have one representative and then some of the places have more than that. So I'm going to start with Kevin Hayden. You're kind of at the top of my list. So we'll start with you. Can you please give us an introduction of yourself and your current position?
Sure. My name's Kevin Hayden. I work at IBM, currently in the Z program, which is our mainframe division. I am a security engineer. I primarily work in dealing with certificates and, you know, making sure that our machine is secure from outside and inside threats. My day-to-day is basically, you know, that, you know, securing our machine basically.
Okay. Thank you very much. Brian Duffy from dunnhumby, are you here?
Sure am. Hi, I'm Brian. I'm an engineering lead for dunnhumby. I span over our enterprise promotion optimization products, of which we have 3 of. In my role, I partner pretty heavily with the products end of the business and the solutions end of the business to ensure that the engineering function has everything they need to operate.
Great, wonderful. Jason Kimmerly, are you here? Oh, you're muted, Jason.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, guys. Yes, my name is Jason Kimmerly. First, I'd like to just say thank you for everyone connecting with us and the others here today. I'm hoping to get to know a bit about each and every one of you, if possible. I mean, looks like we have almost 40 people on the call. Currently, I manage desktop and Internet of Things team at the Center for Health and Technology at the University of Rochester. Been here for about 3 years now. And previously, I worked for a local IT company called Innovative Solutions, where I was supporting IT for local businesses surrounding Monroe County. I have a passion for technology, my family, and a good laugh.
Great, thank you, Jason. Kevin Laseth.
Good morning, everyone. Kevin Laseth, and I currently am at Excellus Blue Cross Blue Shield, and my responsibilities there are within the recruitment or talent acquisition organization, and I support bringing talent in for our information technology division, as well as the analytics and data division. And so look forward to sharing about that here and chatting with you all. So thanks for the invite, and looking forward to it.
And I just want to make a quick note. Thank you, employers, for letting me call your name. I know it kind of harkens back to school, right? But it's the easiest way to make sure I get everybody. Caitlin, I can't see everybody. Is Caitlin here?
She wasn't going to join. She's not going to join today.
Okay, thank you so much. Justin?
Hi, everyone. I'm Justin Abbott. Currently, I'm at Excellus Blue Cross Blue Shield as a data engineer in our analytics and data department on our data platforms and management team. So what I do in that role is create pipelines that for data that flows in and out the company, either downstream to external vendors or ingesting the data into the company. And I'm actually currently transitioning into a software engineering role on the IT medical management team.
Wonderful. Thank you, Justin. Next on my list is Judy. Judy, did I say your name correctly?
Maybe it's Judy.
Julie.
Judy with double D. Judy.
Judy.
It's the same. It's the same as Judy with one D. Just that my dad wanted two Ds. So.
Right.
Okay. So I'm Judy Gomez Gutierrez. I am originally from Colombia. I was born and raised there, and I moved to the States like maybe 12, a little bit more years ago. I currently work at Paychex. I'm a software engineering manager. I oversee 3 out of the 7 Scrum teams that we have in our group. Our group work with Microsoft technologies for the most part. And I'm just looking forward to the conversation here and also learning from you guys.
Wonderful. Thank you, Judy. Lisa, is Lisa here today?
Hi, everybody. Yep, Lisa Lombardi. I'm one of the talent acquisition managers at Paychex. So my team supports IT. So my team partners with Judy and the rest of the IT leadership team to bring in top talent.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, David. David, are you here?
Dave's actually not here today.
Okay.
Dave
Thank
Marr.
you. Thank you so much. And last but not least, Veronica.
Hi, everybody. I'm Veronica Bertolone. I am a recruiter here at Paychex, focusing on IT as well as marketing. I have been in IT recruiting for about 15 years. I've worked on all different skill sets and focused on bringing top talent into the organization.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you all. I will just make sure, I know a couple people were not able to attend. I want to make sure I didn't miss any other employers, correct? That was my list. All right, perfect. All right, so this next question, I think the easiest way to sort of go through this is because we're not actually sitting face-to-face in a panel, is I will sort of just call the names. We will go through everybody. I'll ask the question and then we'll just sort of cycle through and allow everybody a couple minutes to respond to the question. So the first question that the students would like to hear about is any opportunities for full-time career or internships in your organizations that might be of interest to this population. And if you don't currently have any opportunities, what might a career path look like for the students? So I can clarify that and repeat it if we need to, but any opportunities you have in your organization, if you don't happen to have any at this time, perhaps, just a path a student might take to lead them to a successful career. And I think we're going to go backwards. We're going to start with Veronica.
Excellent. So currently we do have quite a few opportunities posted, and we're always looking to network and pipeline talent here at Paychex, whether it be in software engineering, database engineering, performance engineering. We take an infrastructure as code approach. So whereas, someone may go into software engineering and think that they necessarily only want to be a full stack engineer, there are lots of opportunities for them to use those skills in other areas of the business, in IT operations and monitoring and platform engineering. So I encourage any and all students that are interested in exploring opportunities at Paychex to certainly reach out, and I'm happy to have a conversation with anyone.
All right, and I just would, as a curiosity, as sort of a follow-up, and maybe you guys can speak to this or just say, is it easiest to go directly to your website for any of these opportunities, to maybe the careers page or the jobs employment section, and that's where these are going to be listed most appropriately?
Yes, so you can always do that. And if there isn't a position that's of interest to you, you can go ahead and, either way, I would always encourage people to create a profile and sign up for alerts so that our system can let you know as soon as we post something that's of interest. And then, our recruiters are on LinkedIn. Our contact info is there, and we're always welcome to outreach and having proactive conversations. In fact, I speak with a lot of candidates a year out from when they graduate. I keep them on a kind of hot list. I put it on my calendar to keep in touch. And a lot of times I hook them up with positions before they even graduate.
Oh, that's wonderful. What a great opportunity. Thank you so much, Veronica. Lisa, same question to you. The opportunities available and, you know, sort of different successful paths students can take.
Yeah, I mean, Veronica really kind of said it, you know, for Paychex. I think she did a great job kind of explaining, but absolutely, you know, connect with recruiters on LinkedIn. If you see a hiring manager, make sure you're making those connections, and it's never too early to start networking. I know Judy would say that too, you know, visiting the careers page is a great idea. You know, we have entry-level development opportunities, as Veronica said, those software engineer roles, but also, you know, we have opportunities across our IT organization in our IT operations team that everybody's looking for developers these days. So a lot of really transferable skills.
Wonderful, thank you. Judy, same question to you. You know, do you have anything extra to add or to expand upon?
I think Veronica and Lisa did a great job covering that. So I 100% align with what they mentioned.
All right, wonderful, thank you. Justin, so on to you now, Justin Abbott. You know, opportunities within your organization?
I think at Excelis, the best possible opportunity is for students to explore our internship program, our college internship program. I believe that it is a great pipeline that establishes a technical foundation that will last until you get that first full-time job in the position that you're interested in. Especially because Excelis makes it a priority to keep on their interns. They want to make sure that they provide the interns with the best possible experience and match them with mentors that will push them the farthest. And then they're always interested in keeping the students on. I think that's the best possible successful path to go through. And internships in general is just a great way for students to get into the field. But I would encourage the students also to keep an open mind and to explore all different types of positions. Here at Excelis, just in our tech aspect, we have a lot of different positions to offer, whether that be QA engineers or configuration engineers, software engineers. We have people that work on data platforms and Spark environments. I would just encourage students to keep an open mind because each of these positions have very strong transferable skills into each of the other ones.
All right, thank you, Justin. Kevin, I know you're at Excelis as well. Anything to add to what Justin said?
Great, and Justin gave some good literal examples, and I'm sure he'll be able to share some more as we go along. But I would just say yes. He highlighted, you know, the intern program as a feeder pool to our full-time opportunities. We don't have, we just finished wrapping up our current intern program recruitment. So there aren't any roles out there at the moment, but as one of my colleagues have mentioned, you know, it's never too early to consider, you know, an opportunity because timing is truly everything associated with a hiring opportunity. And so networking and engaging with individuals who are making themselves available as we all are here today. And so making sure you look at, you know, connecting through LinkedIn, understanding the different opportunities that our company has. We host them all, you know, on our site, and eventually when we do have opportunities, we'll get them onto your school site as well. But as Justin also mentioned, you know, we have a breadth of opportunities from a technology standpoint, and we do have our whole, you know, information technology infrastructure and the breadth of roles within technology organization is wide, but we also have some specialties in the data science organization, and so data science team works to help essentially level improve health outcomes for our members by understanding, what the data is saying within the all of the transactions, from billing to the actual health information. And so we are an innovative team on the technology front, both from an infrastructure standpoint as well as practical and applicable technology for everyday issues.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kevin and Justin. Jason, what is U of R? What does that process look like? What are opportunities it look like there?
Yeah, I think it's similar so far as to what the other employers have stated. The U of R is always looking for grade A talent, and I would really urge anyone who's interested in a career at the U of R to go to the career portal. Once you're there, you can filter by information technology and see all relevant opportunities. And there's things ranging from, beginner help desk positions to bioinformaticists, data engineers, primary data center positions. There's a wealth of opportunities within that portal itself. And I can put that right into the chat as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Jason. Brian?
Yeah. So at dunnhumby, we've worked with Dr. Mitra in the past, and Dr. Kamal when we have the internship program. Unfortunately, with the introduction of COVID the past year or so, it's not something we've pursued. So we don't have anything active as far as internships go, but historically over the past 10 years, we've had plenty of candidates from Brockport specifically that have gone on to be hired at dunnhumby. We do have an open kind of entry-level software engineering role. So if you're interested in that, that should be posted sometime within the next month. And that, again, like very similar with the other companies, will be listed on our careers page, which I'll also look up and post here in the chat. We are a global company, but what we have here in Rochester is primarily a software engineering function. However, there is kind of a new wave of hiring coming on for the kind of Scrum Master type positions. And with some of the new signings, we've got some retail centric positions as well. If you're into like technical project management, et cetera. So keep an eye on that page. That's probably the best way to apply. And as things become available, we'll post back out to the school and you can hear via them.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, Brian. Kevin, what's IBM's hiring and kind of organizational structure look like right now?
Well, we still have our internship program, although it's 100% virtual right now, which is nice because you don't have to come to Poughkeepsie to do it. And IBM is very interested and serious about keeping our interns on board. The transition rate for them is very high. So I would say if you're interested in, working at IBM, the best path forward would be to get an internship. So if you are, a junior or a senior, I would encourage you to go to our website and apply, and also send me your resume so I can put them directly in my hiring manager's hands. That'd be your best shot. Yeah, I believe there are a bunch of entry-level positions open, and I do think we filled our internships for the summer. But if you're a junior, I would suggest you apply early in this fall for our next round.
Okay. All right, thank you, Kevin. Yep. So this next question is something that is sort of near and dear to my department and my heart in particular. But I'm wondering if any of you, and we'll give everybody, could briefly talk about some advice on resumes, maybe some definite don'ts that you see, maybe some definite do's of things that you like to see on resumes and really make a candidate stand out. And I think I am going to, I'm going to switch it up a little bit again. Kevin Laseth, I saw you nodding your head, so I'll start with you.
Oh, great. Appreciate it. Resumes are near and dear to me. I've been in the recruiting realm for some time and worked at a couple of different corporations, and so it is obviously a window into who you are. It's not the everything, you know, that can explain who you are, but it does give an initial insight into, you know, the profile of information that you have an opportunity to share. And so there's a lot of do's and don'ts. I'll just focus on a couple of things that I think is helpful and be succinct about it. Getting into describing what you're doing in your roles, right? So what's important is for someone to have an understanding of not just what you did, but kind of how you did it and the value that you brought to doing it. So, and what that means is, okay, if you just take a general job, let's say a fast food role. I mean, everyone knows what someone does, what a cashier does, you know, at a fast food restaurant. But if you describe your role as what it says in the pamphlet or just the high level description, you don't distinguish yourself from the next person. I mean, everyone's description can look just like that. Tell me what you've done to improve and make the process, the organization, the environment better based on you completing that. And that's one of the main things I talk to students about as they form their resume. That's important, along with, you know, consistent flow and format. But that's one point that I would share, to make sure there's something we learn about your actual accomplishments and how you impacted the role, as opposed to just saying, I did, you know, I worked on A, B, C, or D. Tell me the impact. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and Kevin, when I instruct or help students or counsel students, I talk about accomplishments, not duties, right? So what are the accomplishments, and not just a list of the duties that you've done. So I'm glad you reinforced that. Judy, what comments or thoughts do you have on resume do's and don'ts?
Yeah, so I think to add a little bit to what Kevin mentioned, just thinking about the students, that not everyone may have the opportunity to participate in an internship or co-op program. What I will say is that focus on showing your projects. The class projects are important as well, because that will reflect experience that you have during the course of your journey at college, and that will really help the person who is looking at your resume to know more. Like listing, of course, your skills is something that is important as well. In regards of don'ts, I think for me, you think, this is just my personal opinion, like if you think about the resume, like you submit your resume, the person who is gonna look at it has a lot of resumes, right, to go through. So if you make it nice to the eyes, like good format, good structure, is important, because it makes it's easier for us to go over and find what we are looking for, versus this is like all over the place, a little bit challenging. So I will say just look at the format, and also the content is very important, but format as well.
Again, as I counsel students, I encourage them to keep it to a more traditional format rather than maybe some of the fancy templates and things that are out there. So again, another validation for me, I'm doing the right things. You know, Lisa, anything that sticks out to you on resumes?
Yeah, I'm so glad Judy said that. How a resume is structured is so important. I'm a big fan of bullet points and not paragraphs. Make it really easy. I see the other managers and recruiters nodding. So make it easy for us. Bullet points are great. Be specific about what you did. You know, a lot of times in a resume or an interview, you talk like we or the team. We want to know what you did. It's important that we know that you're a team player and can participate on a team, but this is your resume or it's your interview. So this is the time to really sell yourself and your skills. To the other points, highlight your project experience. That's really important. If you have your own GitHub, put that link on there. That's great, a great opportunity for hiring managers to go out and review some of the work that you've done. And for don'ts, pretty big thing, like make sure, like, don't have spelling errors on your resume. Don't have an email address that doesn't work. Don't have a voicemail that's not set up. You know, don't say you have experience with a technology if you don't. Leaders will ask you about that. If it's on your resume, we say it's fair game.
Yeah.
So if it's on there, be prepared to talk about it. I think those are some of my biggest takeaways.
All right, wonderful, thank you. Brian, what do you look at dunnhumby?
Yeah, so I know applying to different positions can be done in different ways. For like, you might put out a resume and it goes to 100 companies, et cetera. But if you're really targeting a particular company that you want to work for, do a bit of research. Oftentimes they'll describe the skills they're looking at, or whatever the job listing is will describe exactly what they're looking for. And you might want to reorder your resume in that capacity. You might want to have the most relevant things at the top for that particular employer. And it just shows that even if you can nuancely change it to be a bit more worded to like why you want that particular position and why you're a good fit for that, as opposed to a generic, like that makes you stand out in our opinion, especially for requesting a particular technology and it's listed towards your top. We're going to read that first and automatically move it into a bucket that we want to move forward with. So a bit of do your research, and then I want to double down on the be prepared to talk about it. And that can be in a variety of ways, especially if it's an intro position and you are explicitly interested in being able to learn that technology on the job. Saying that on your resume, not in words, but of maybe a skill level, or I'm aware of it, or if you're not prepared to talk to about it at all, just leave it off entirely is better than thinking that you're going to do it. So definitely want to double down on that, but having your processes, your tools, and your technologies that you're comfortable with talking to on your resume is definitely a do, and dropping the ones that you'd be uncomfortable is a don't.
Wonderful, thank you. Kevin, what do you look at? What are some do's and don'ts with the resume?
Me or Kevin Lisa?
Oh, you.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of good points from the other panelists. I would only add that if you have a GitHub, include that on your resume. And I would include it if you have, a lot of, projects relevant to, the work that you're trying to do at a specific job. Like Brian said, try to kind of tailor, the resume towards a specific position you're trying to get. So maybe having some projects that, you're kind of working on, maybe use some of the technologies that the position you're looking for, or you're trying to get hired at, they're looking for. Maybe try to emulate that build, that stack in a small scale project on your own, and showcase that to them.
All right, wonderful, thank you. Jason, thoughts on resumes? Anything?
I 1000% agree with everyone else and what they've said here. Having a clean, easy to read design is of the utmost important. And this is really your place to sell your skills and abilities, not just listing out, what you've done, like the others said, but sell what you've accomplished and how you've accomplished it. And bit of advice too is to use any trigger words or acronyms, especially in IT, because I just ran into this recently where I was looking for someone for the Internet of Things position, and trying to search for IoT or Internet of Things or IT acronyms that relate to that with mobile technologies, device sensors. It's hard to narrow that down within a resume. And it's also hard to list that in a resume without having just a bunch of acronyms everywhere.
Yeah.
So perhaps putting them off hidden in the margins, just to allow any AI or anyone who's searching for those specific acronyms to pull that resume automatically would be a good idea. Something else I would not recommend is using any highlighter colors. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a resume come in that's like bright green or bright pink, and like hurts my eyes after I've looked at 70, resumes for the day. Stick to traditional, black and white. And most importantly, don't skip the proofreading, and always have someone else proofread your resume. It's a bit disconcerting when someone looks like they have all the skills and attributes that you're looking for, but they can't get a well-structured sentence together or something of that nature.
I think in particular, I'll just add a little bit to that as well, as that's where a cover letter comes in, right? Everybody should be doing one of those. And really, that's a really, not your bullet points and your accomplishments do in fact show you are able to articulate in writing, but your cover letter really shows that. So thank you, Jason. Justin, Veronica, Justin, do you have anything to add? I feel I want to make sure everybody gets a chance.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate, especially what Kevin and Brian said, doing your research on the company. If you know a particular company, you feel like it would be a great fit for you, really dig into what kind of skills are they looking for, and tailor your resume to make sure that you put your best foot forward for that position. I'm not a fan of using cookie cutter resumes. It should be specific for what you're looking for. And to that extent, it's important that when you are doing your projects, for instance, maybe you don't have the internship experience. If you are doing your projects, I would focus on using a wide variety of technologies, because the purpose of those projects is so that you can sort of get your foot in the door in different aspects of information technology. So for one project, you can really focus on gaining, your unit testing skills. And for another project, you can focus on using a specific technology. And one last thing is that if you do have a link to your GitHub, I think that it's critical to have a really well-documented README, so that when the hiring managers look at your projects, they know exactly what they're looking at, and they're able to skim it a lot easier. And that, I believe, that will help you stand out.
Thank you, Justin. Veronica, last thoughts on resume?
Sure, I have a couple. So don't use a header and footer. A lot of times your name and data will not get picked up by an applicant tracking system because of that. Also, make sure you're including your full contact info, including a link to your LinkedIn profile, your phone number, your email address. I can't tell you how many times they get a resume and I struggle to get a hold of those people. Big fan of a skills matrix. And, as some of the other panelists mentioned, you can always put, proficient, exposure to, kind of list out where your experience level lies with those skills. With regard to the project work, include the technologies that you've worked with. And you can always put at the bottom of those projects, these are the technologies you've worked with, list those out. And I think that's about it for me.
All right, wonderful. Those are some great, and you saw me writing. It's because I was writing those things down, and now I'm going to contact all of you. We'll create a big billboard that says all of these things, because it's the messages that I try to pass to everybody. So thank you for that. I think we probably have time for about one more question before we have to go into the breakout rooms. And so if everybody could just briefly talk about maybe, what do you look for in an interview? What really is beneficial to a potential candidate as they come and they are in that interview process? Lisa, we'll start with you.
Okay. I think some of the things other panelists have said, research, I think is huge. Know about the company that you're interviewing with. That could easily be an interview question. I know sometimes when I talk to candidates, I'm like, why Paychex? Like, what attracted you here? When people say, I don't know, or like, what do you know about the company? And they don't have an answer. Yeah. We look at that. So do your research on the company. I mean, go to the careers page. You can go right to the company page, look on LinkedIn, know who you're interviewing with. If the recruiter's helping you set that up, they'll tell you who the interview is with. Go to their LinkedIn page, know something about them. Have questions prepared. Another thing that when we ask, like, what questions do you have for us? And it's crickets. Ask about the technology. Ask about the interviewer. What do they love about the company? Why are they there? What's the mentorship program like? Those are all like some pretty easy things to ask and to be prepared with. Practice. I know that can sound funny, but practice before. Read your resume. Understand what that resume says. Go back to your project. You can take some notes, like bring a Padfolio or a folder. Have some notes in the margin. It's okay. We do it when we interview. You know, we have questions that we have prepared. I just can't say like prepare, role play. You have professors who I'm sure that would do some mock interviews with you. Yep, and Stephanie's raising her hand that she will. Just know about those projects. Understand what your strengths are, where your areas of opportunities are, and how you're working towards them.
Wonderful, great answer, great answer. Kevin Hayden, what are some do's and don'ts with interviews?
I would say, be generally engaged throughout the interview. You want to portray to the interviewer that, you're somebody they want to work with. I mean, it's not just that you can do the job, it's that you can do the job with others and be a team player. It's very important. I would really hammer that home.
Okay. All right. Yeah, thank you. No, thank you. Jason, tips for interviews?
Sure. First, I'd like to say, responsiveness to get into the interview and follow up afterwards are of the utmost importance. Just really be yourself. I mean, the resume should sell your skill sets, and when you get to your interview, it's time to sell yourself and show you're personable and your ability to, work alongside others and your passion for the organization. So like the others have said, make sure you do your research and bring something specific to the interview, whether if it's a strategic question or ability that's not portrayed out on your resume.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for that good advice. Judy?
Yeah, so I think, I was thinking, what else, right? What else to add? Like, questions are really important. What just Jason said, like, be yourself. I cannot stress that enough. Because when what happens is you get the job and you were not yourself in the interview. Could you fake it through, like, when you are hired? Probably not, right? So, and then it's gonna be a little bit shocking for you if you get the job and you find out that, well, I wasn't meant for this job, and then you don't want to go through a process of termination and such. So be yourself. We know that, like, we all have been in the other side as well, right? We all have applied for a job, so we know that it's anxiety, like, people may be nervous, and we get it. Especially when it's your first interview, preparation is key, like rehearsal, as Lisa said, like do mock interviews, like practice with your friend or practice with the mirror to see how you look like to see your body language. Because sometimes I have seen this even with interviews in the screen where people is sitting like this, answering the questions. And it's really like, maybe you are not conscious about it, but it doesn't, and maybe you are relaxed. It's good that you are relaxed, but I think you want to make sure that you are being professional and you are giving attention to the panel of interview people that you have there. One other thing I will suggest once you are set up for the interview, ask what is the format of the interview, right? So you can be prepared. Is it going to be like one person, or is it going to be a group of people, right? also ask, is it going to be a technical interview or is going to be more like get to know each other interview, so you can be prepared for technical questions, or you can be more focused on experience that you have had working as a team that you can share with your panel of people interviewing you.
Great. Those are great tips. Thank you for that insight. Veronica?
Sure. I definitely think that being familiar with and having the job description in front of you for the interview is really important. Also, some great questions to ask are, what is it about my resume that made you want to speak with me today? That's a really great opportunity for you to reinforce some of those skills and potentially bring out other experiences that the manager is not even aware of. Another great question is, are there any hesitancies that you have in my candidacy? Are there any areas that you think that my skills are lacking? And perhaps, again, another opportunity for you to elaborate on areas that maybe you didn't touch on, show them I do have those skills, and always follow up with a thank you note. When we were interviewing in person in the past, I always followed up with a email thank you and had a letter, like a note card in my car, ready to drop in the mail as soon as I left. I think that makes a really lasting impression.
I agree. That's a great tip. And I talk to students about that a lot. We are a little bit over time, but I think that these are good, and I want to make sure everybody gets an opportunity. So, Justin, thoughts on interviewing for you?
I agree with what everyone said. I just want to keep hammering home that you cannot over prepare. The more you attend mock interviews and the more you practice and you really drill down into it, the more comfortable you will be in that hot seat. I know it is a lot of pressure, but with experience, it gets a little bit easier. And I believe that once you have a certain level of comfort communicating who you really are, you'll be able to better showcase your passion for what you are looking to do, the type of passion that you will bring to the team. And I think that you can only really get to that point if you do attend those mock interviews and really prepare. Try to over prepare.
Yeah, I practice is what I always tell the students. So, Kevin, I know what else? What might you have, Kevin Laseth? Sorry for adding.
And just quick, I'll extend on, because a lot of people have said a lot of great things, won't rehash, but I'll extend on what Justin was just saying with a different context also, is that make sure you're talking to and with your interviewers and not at, right? And so you can, if you're practicing and getting feedback, you'll learn whether you're sort of robotic and just going through the motions of saying, hey, this is what I want to tell them, and I'm talking, and being able to spew out, these things and more robotic like. But make sure you're comfortable and relaxed and able to just talk freely and freely in terms of engage in an engaging mode as opposed to talking at. And so, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, it's that ability to have a conversation, rather than, as you said, just knowing exactly what you need to say. And certainly not last in this conversation, Brian, when it comes to interviewing, what are some thoughts?
Yeah, I'll touch on a couple of things that people have already, but maybe in a bit nuanced, focused on the technical side of it, because I'm generally doing the technical interview. It's really hard. The secret is it's really hard for the interviewer to truly gauge your technical aptitude in an interview setting. What we're relying on is how confident are you in describing the solution? How confident are you if it's an exercise? Talking us through your decision making as you were building out whatever it is, or the whiteboard, or if you had a day to do it. We're really using that to determine, can this person think through a real life problem using the technologies that we're looking at. So it's less the thing that you produce and more how well can you communicate that thing to the interviewer. So that's one. I definitely want to double down and we're really doing two things. Are you a good technical fit? And then are you a good cultural fit? So how you come off just in that conversation is a key indicator of whether or not you'd be good working at dunnhumby, or I imagine any employer here. And the best interview feels like a professional conversation. So if you walk away from that interview thinking, I just had a really positive professional conversation, then you've done the right thing. So as you're doing your mock interviews, that's what it should feel like.
All right, thank you all so much. I think I myself learned some good and got some good insight about resumes and interviews, and that will then help me with the students that I know from just this conversation alone will be coming to my office to visit with me. And so I appreciate it. At this time, we are going to transition into the breakout rooms where students will have the opportunities to talk with the employers. I think this is going to be a great opportunity for you to find out maybe what the paths from an entry-level position onward may look like in each of these organizations. But it also may be a good time for you to question about, what specifically is industry, what's good in the industry, what are they looking for, what specifically are the needs that these organizations have. Employers, I want to thank you for coming and sharing with us today. This is always a great wealth of knowledge, and I have enjoyed. I'd love to talk to all of you some more, but we need to move on. So thank you so much for joining us today, and have a good rest of the afternoon. Students, thank you for joining as well, and you can contact my office through Handshake.